We're going to use some of Maurizio Bertoli's dry disc. We're going to start at 100 grit. Going through this kind of fast because we need to get this under 4 minutes. Starting with 100 grit honing pass. Okay, we're going to be using a piece of Briche Annunziata. As I say, right now we're using 100 grit to knock the factory finish off. This is a brand new factory tile. We plan on taking it to a 100 grit, 200 grit, and a 400 grit honing cuts with the dried diamonds, and then we're going to use MB12 to get a polished finish. And that's about the end. Now we're going to do the 200 grit once again, and you can see as we go over it with the 200, there's the 400 we're getting ready and the 100 we just got finished with. The 200, you can see, we're not going to show a lot of this clip, but you can see there, you can see a little bit of the clarity coming out of the stone after the 200. Now we're on the 400 grit. And once again, this is as high as we're going to go as far as a honing cut. You kind of have these, you can't really tell though by the way I'm doing it. You bring these diamonds onto the surface of the stone at an angle. You go over it at an angle and then you flatten it out, and then you can see now clearly we're polishing the stone. You could really go up, if you went up to an 800 or a 1500, you could probably get to a polished finish just using these dry diamonds, but we're just going to go to a 400, and now we're using the MB12 product. You can see I put a little scoop of it on there, gone to a 7-inch backer from the 3-inch, and I'm just going to drop a little bit of water on there, and then we will, there's the water, a little MB12, and we're going to polish this. Now as I polish it, what you can look for is the reflection onto the grinder in my hands to become more and more obvious as we go. Now I'm just doing what I call a spreading pass, spreading, and this is a variable speed 9227 Makita. We're going to bring the speed on up and put plenty of pressure on it, and the heat and pressure combined with the MB12 is going to give us a polished finish. As you can see, you're actually starting to be able to see the reflection of the grinder as I work this tile. Now what we do is that just like in the instructions of the MB12, we're going to go over one pass with the MB12, then we're going to apply another little bit, which is what it says to do in the instructions for MB12. We're going to apply another little bit of powder, little MB12, and then we're going to go over the same drop, which is what is called for. We're going to go over the same drop one more time, and you can see at that point, then we'll put the camera down on an angle and you'll be able to see what kind of a polished finish we get. Okay, there's the second little partial spoonful of MB12 honing powder. Put a little water on there, and then we're going to be done honing the stone. After a 400 grit honing cut, this is the culmination of a 100 grit, 200 grit, 400 grit dry diamond honing cut. And like I say, as you move through this, as I move the 7-inch backer, as I'll increase the RPMs on the Makita until it pops out the polished finish. Now you can kind of see it pretty easily with the polished finish starting. The reflection's pretty obvious there to me, and you can see as we move on up, put a little more pressure on, we get a little bit more polish, and then we're going to go to the we'll hold it on the angle, and you can see what we're calling a polished finish. When you look at this, when you look across there, it's hard to tell. That's a factory finish.